Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at a Joy Toy item. I've got the War Horse from the Dark Sources Jianghu line.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Alright, so here's the packaging for the War Horse from Joy Toy, the Dark Source Jianghu. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now, I decided to do a singular review on the War Horse rather than the horse and his rider. I hope to do a review on the soldier that was sort of paired with this horse at another time. But this review is going to be simply about the horse. You can see him here in the package. There's some reflection there. I do still have him in the cellophane. I did pick up two of these. And two riders to go with them. But you can see it's the Dark Sources packaging. You can just very faintly see in the background there some kind of a sort of ancient, well, I don't know about ancient, but a scene from China, it looks like. Some Chinese architecture back there. And you can see a little bit better there. If I pull it up, you can see some, maybe that's a castle back there in the sky. Otherwise pretty plain. Here is the packaging, the back. We've got the horse. Looks like it comes with a saddle, a bridle, and maybe a stand to help you get different poses out of it. I like how they've shown it here as sort of a wild horse with none of the gear on, and then of course here it is all saddled up. Very nice. I do have the Mighty Steeds from Boss Fight Studio that we can compare this to. But that's the packaging. Let's get them open. Okay, guys. So here is the War Horse out of packaging. And I've been fooling around with him just a little bit. He did come fully assembled with all his gear on him already. And the stand was in two separate clear packages. I do like this stand. It does take a little bit of assembly here, like so. It's fully articulated. It's nice. I think to achieve some really dynamic poses, you need this stand. It's not needed as much to stand itself, as you can see here. It can stand just fine. Let's see. So first impression, it is really articulated. And I really only have, well, I have one horse from, I think, the Prince of Persia line that has little to no articulation. And then I have the Boss Fight Studio horses, which have a lot more articulation. I can say this Joy Toy horse has more articulation, but, and this isn't something that I usually say, this might be a little bit too much. And I know that's for some of us in the 118 community, especially those of us who, do not like 5 POA. And there's some of us out there that don't care for O-rings. This might be one of those cases where I feel like there's a little bit too much going on here. And it's because I think it's so much articulation, it's hindered the sculpt. All of these, I'll call them plates, they almost take away from how nice the paint job is, and really how it is nicely sculpted, each piece. But this having all these different, in particular, like right here, so you can see the light through there, and it's like that throughout the horse. The separate piece, you can see how if sort of these pieces float above the body of the horse. This plate here in particular, these two. It almost feels like a bit too much, but it has, because of that, I mean, you can see this horse has better split articulation than a lot of the human figures. And I'm not sure a horse can actually do that. If it did, it'd probably be in a lot of trouble if it could actually do the splits like that. So I feel like a bit that it's overkill. But at the same time, you know, Joy Toy is known for being super highly articulated. You know, they're not going to pump out something that is not up to the articulation standard. The tail does have a ball joint. The head and neck are like separate pieces here. You can see how this actually pops right off. I did it earlier. That pops off and it just clicks back on, and you're supposed to, I think I put it back on wrong last time. That hair there actually comes up so that you can put it on. See if I can do it again. And it goes over. But see, once it goes over, then it sort of hits the saddle. So I think it is supposed to go under, but it doesn't look right having the hair go under that plate or that piece. I'm calling them plates because that's how it looks to me. But the paint is excellent, and the sculpt, you know, the musculature, all of that stuff looks really, really good. It's just visually, I think it's broken up by all of these plates or pieces that are sort of put together to make this horse. But it really can get into some really cool poses, and I know that the stand is necessary to achieve some of them. But it's still a nice horse, you know, it's still really, really nice. You know, I know some of those cowboys and gauchos and stuff, they can get their horses to do all these kind of poses, and they can all be achieved with this horse. I just don't know if I visually like some of the seams here from the plates, but overall it's pretty nice. You can see the head there. The eyes are beautiful, shiny black eyes. There's a lot of shading here from, say, the nose down towards the jaw. Just really, really nice. Even the sculpting in that hair, even though it goes below the collar there. Even the saddle, I think you can see that there's a texture in the leather, or the, you know, the what should be leather. I think the fur here, it's a little looks a little plasticky. It's not quite as nice as the leather here. There's some gold filigree there. These are a little bit harder plastic. Stirrups. Does have a hoof prints at the bottom. Very nice though. Is very nice. And I think the only way to really look at this though is to compare it to some of the other horses that we have at this scale. And I've mentioned before, I know Chicken Fried Toys, Dime Novel Legends is working on a horse, a Kickstarter horse, that should be coming any time now or earlier in the 2024 year. But we do have the Boss Fight Studio Mighty Steeds, and I will bust out the Prince of Persia horse just to kind of show you where we've been to where we are going. So I'll be right back. Okay, so let's start from my left and we'll go to my right. This is the Prince of Persia horse, or from the Prince of Persia line. I can't remember who made this line. It does say 2010 Disney TMP International. So this is a good 13 years old. This is all I really had for the longest time at this scale. I'd use this with my fantasy stuff. Put a Boss Fight Studio Knight on here or something. He does have a little bit of articulation back here behind the jaw, a little at the neck, a little teeny bit right there. And then he's got like hinged ankles. Nothing in the tail. It's like a soft rubber tail, just like this is the saddle, and it's glued right on there. Almost like a rubber band kind of for the bridle. But it does have a lot of nice paint. This thing does photograph well. I will say that. But it is much outdated for its time. All right, so that was my only horse. Then we've got here the Boss Fight Studio Mighty Steed. I did back the Kickstarter. I do actually have 6 of these. I've got 2 brown ones, 2 white ones, and 1 of the blondies. I did not get the rainbow horse, if you're wondering. If you know what that is, I did not get the rainbow one. When I backed it, I didn't have enough money to get enough saddles for all of them. So right now I have 6 horses, but I only have 3 saddles. I recently, and you'll see probably in my next haul video, I did pick up one more saddle. So I need 2 more, and then they'll all be saddled up. It's one of those projects I started that I never finished. Very good horse, very nice. You can see it's a little bit bigger than the Prince of Persia, but it is a little bit smaller than this war horse. Nearly identical articulation, tail-wise, head-wise, neck-wise. They did do something a little bit different here with the hair. This little pony, what would it be, bangs, does flip, and you can kind of move it from side to side. Whoops, it did pop out there. I think all of the hair actually on this Boss Fight Studio horse does plug in and plug out. So it does allow, just like the Virtue and Hacks, just like their hack stuff. Bridle's a separate piece. It is a harder plastic, not rubber bandy like that. Definitely not as nice as this one, I think. Someone's always had a little bit trouble because it's not very long, this one. So it's really got to be up in order to get the horse on it. And I think this is the Roman tack pack saddle. It comes in red and blue. I chose red, so I have 2 of these in red. Very nice though, very comparable to this one. I think in price, this one might be a little bit cheaper, better deal, easier to get because it is from Boss Fight Studio rather than from Joy Toy. But again, it's a little bit bigger than the Persian one, a lot more articulation, a lot more detail in the sculpt. But then this one sort of, like I said, it beats them out, the other 2, but maybe it's too much this time. A lot more musculature and shading in the paint, in the sculpt. It's bigger. It's almost much bigger, actually. You can see there. I'll do a side by side. You can see he's much bigger, longer, and maybe that's because they're different breeds. I don't know. I don't know enough about horses. Different kind of saddle too. I don't know, guys. I think, to be really honest, to be fair, I think I actually like the Boss Fight Studio one a little bit more. I just don't like the breaking up of the sculpt here. Even though you can get all these extra movements out of the horse, I'm not sure that you would actually use them, because even that, he can get into this different pose, but now it exposes, these open sort of marks there. I don't know if I like that visually. Even here when he bends his head back, you can kind of see the ball joint, right there behind the head. And you can't see that here. It's a lot smoother. I knocked the bangs off of this guy again. I don't think I didn't push it in quite enough last time. But here, let me put him off to the side. Let me show you one of the other ones. This is the white version. Same horse, just white, same saddle, everything. And then this is the golden, I think they call it blondie or something like that. And I think this one, I almost broke the tail on it. Yeah, you can see there, right there, that pin. I almost broke it off one time on accident. Oh, it almost did it again. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Didn't realize how it turned. I almost broke it. And this has the Australian tack pack, which I think is the one I just got. So I might have 2 of these saddles now. This plastic is a little bit stiffer, a little bit harder. This does feel a little bit softer. And I will say too, the articulation does seem to move easier and flow. You know, it's sort of more fluidity to the posing. But the trade-off is those sort of gaps in the sculpt. You know, these sort of cut openings. It does have a ball joint right there in the chest that this one does not have, where it's sort of glued there. This one, it's actually a point of articulation. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I feel like it's, you know, it's a horse though, so it needs to be able to do things, you know, that a person can't. It's going to move in different ways. I'm not sure if it's, I feel like it's just too much this time though. I know that they've now issued this horse, I think also in white now. I think that's version 2 of this horse. This is version 1. I do like the saddle though. I do like that this is longer. And that way, you know, when his head is down, it still reaches. Because that's always been one of the problems with the horse's head. This one, if it gets too far ahead, the figure, you know, because this is so rigid, can't really get to it. But this one, it seems to have solved that problem. It'll be interesting to see what Chicken Fried Toys does, how they approach this. You know, because you get different engineers, different sculptors, and different ideas, you know. It's almost, it's like cars, you know, or weapons. There's so many different types, and people go about solving problems different ways. Hopefully they have, you know, they have these horses too. I would think that they do, and they can take the pros and the cons from each one. I like the size of this one. I like how easily it moves. But I don't like the plates. I don't like the cuts in the sculpt. But it is a beautiful horse, and it probably has the nicer of the eyes. I like the size, but I think for my money, I would probably stick with the Boss Fight Studio Mighty Steeds. That's just my opinion, guys. I don't know what you think. You know, leave a comment below. We can start a discussion. I do see there's a number here right there on that ball joint. I don't know if you guys can see that. It does say 72, and I've noticed it now. It's on each one. So that's something that they probably need to remedy. But yeah, this one has peg holes. But overall, it's a nice horse, you know, and if you need to, you know, get your hands on one to kind of see what I mean, then I would say grab one. It doesn't hurt to have, you know, different horse, you know, even in this bunch. I've got 2 of these. I've got 6 of these. You know, it adds a lot of variation. You know, and horses are different sizes, you know, and there are different breeds of horses. So a little variation is nice. But overall, I like it. I would say, though, if you really want some horses, I think I would go with the Boss Fight Studio. But this is a nice horse. There's nothing wrong with it. To each their own. You know, you might prefer the size of this one. You might want all that extra articulation because you are going to use the stand. You know, you are going to get the horse in one of those poses that, you know, that it can only this horse can do, because of that extra added articulation. But yeah, so that is my overview, guys. It's nice, but can I recommend it? I don't think so. I don't think so. Not when there was this, you know. And you can get this, I think that's only in brown and white right now. And you can get this in, you know, at least 3, 4 different colors. So that is it, guys. Those are my thoughts. Very nice horse, but I think it's a pass. I don't think I'll be getting any more, not even the white one. But I am glad I have these. It was nice to do the comparison. It's nice to see, like I said, different companies, different engineering, different ways of solving the same problem. But that's it, guys. I'm going to try to just take a few photos, not too many, and I'm going to see you next time. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.